artists. Today, we're going to meet a famous surrealist artist. But before that, let us take a look at this painting. Scan with your eyes from top to bottom, from left to right. You may even pause the video to take a closer look. Then, take your STW chart and fill it up based on what you see, think, and wonder. The painting that you have just observed is called The Persistence of Memory. It was painted by Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali made paintings, sculptures, and films about the dreams he had. He painted melting clocks and floating eyes, clouds that look like faces and rocks that look like bodies. Sounds weird, right? Think about what your paintings would look like if you painted your dreams. I bet they would be pretty weird too. Dali was involved with Surrealism. This was an art movement where painters made dreamlike sceneries and showed situations that would be bizarre or impossible in real life. Look at this painting above. Does the lake look like a fish to you? Surrealist artists were influenced by a famous psychoanalyst called Sigmund Freud. A psychoanalyst is a doctor who studies the human mind and tries to understand it. Freud believed our mind was divided into two parts, the conscious and the unconscious. The conscious mind is what we use to make decisions every day. The unconscious mind is where our memories are stored. Most of the times we are not aware of our unconscious mind, but sometimes the memories stored there get mixed up in our dreams, and this is what Dali tried to paint. Salvador Dali was a very eccentric man. You can always recognize him because he had a funny mustache. He liked to dress in crazy clothes and have long hair, which people found very shocking at that time. Salvador Dali went to Paris after leaving an art school, which was where he met the Surrealists. The Surrealists appealed to his wild sense of humor. They invented surrealist games and enjoyed putting different objects together to make something playful and disturbing at the same time. Here is Dali's version of a surrealist sculpture. It is called Lobster Telephone. Do you think you could call anyone using that? What about you? What two objects would you put together to create a surreal sculpture?
When asked about the clocks and why they are melting, Dali said he had the idea from a wheel of camembert cheese melting in the sun. Dali was 27 years old when he painted The Persistence of Memory, which quickly became the most famous surrealist painting. Surrealism means beyond realism, which is very different from irrealism, meaning not real. Surrealists seek to represent an alternate reality, one that isn't accessible by our consciousness. That's why Dali would often call his paintings hand-painted dream photographs, and The Persistence of Memory is definitely one of them. This looks like a scene from a very weird dream. You're thrown in a desert, you see water in the distance. You also see cliffs and a dead tree. So far, everything is believable. Then you see the melting clocks. Melting clocks could be a representation of the theory of relativity and time dilation developed by Einstein at the beginning of the century. The only clock that isn't melting is the one that is closed, but is being consumed by ants, which are Dali's symbol of death and decay. One of the clocks is melting on a weird creature, some kind of monster with wavy eyebrows, a big nose, long eyelashes, and a thick tongue. This is believed to be a self-portrait of Dali, and you can see a resemblance in Dali's 1921 self-portrait. It was then reproduced massively, especially in 1929, 2 years before The Persistence of Memory. Dali appears to be sleeping, and this would fit the idea that this painting is a hand-painted dream photograph. This forces us to play with the ideas of dreams, time, and memory. We need memory to be aware of time, and we need time to have memories. So those two concepts depend on each other when it comes to the human experience. But in a dream, these concepts are flexible, making us lose grip on reality. Memory becomes unstable. We forget things such as how a certain event we're involved in even began. We remember things that haven't even happened. Time also becomes indiscernible, as we can't tell how long or short a certain event in a dream is. This juggling of concepts should make us realize the possibility that, through dreams, we could have access to an alternative way of seeing our universe, one that isn't bound to our necessity of having coherent memory and time perception.
What do you think of Dali's artwork? Is it funny? Is it weird?